Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at the story around Binance advising government on crypto regulations. So Richard Teng, the Binance CEO, had an interview with Financial Times and he explained what is going on behind the scenes. And it is a wild story, it's massive, but a lot of people just miss this sort of stuff. I was speaking to somebody the other day and they were like, why is this important? I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? There is countries and governments coming to Binance, the biggest exchange in the world, and talking to them about how to structure a strategic reserve. This all comes off the back of America deciding that they're going to do the same. So it's making every country around the world have a bit of FOMO and go, oh my God, we need to buy some of this stuff, right? When we look through the interview here, you can see here is a statement. Richard Teng, the firm's chief executive, told the Financial Times that the US's more crypto-friendly approach under President Trump, including plans to set up a regulatory framework for digital assets and a national stockpile, was spurring other countries into taking similar action. I mean, of course it does. I mean, of course this is going to start happening. As soon as, I think a lot of people forget, the Bitcoin is limited in supply. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. And as soon as America came out and said, we are going to create a stockpile and a strategic reserve, meaning they are going to be accumulating Bitcoin, holding it to back the value of their dollar, to increase the value of the central bank's reserves, this is going to make other countries do the same. So you've got to understand that not only do you have retail buying, you have institutions buying, as we've seen with Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, but there are waves of other countries coming out at the moment with companies saying, hey, we are now buying cryptocurrency. Then now you're getting actual countries. Towards the end of the video, I'll go through a list of a few countries that are talking about crypto regulation, but you can just see he is saying exactly what we all thought would happen. And it is happening. So to start with, that's a very interesting statement. But as we look further into the interview, there's something else that pops up here. Compared to many other jurisdictions, the US are way ahead on that front. So it's showing that the United States is leading the charge. We know that. But when you think the United States haven't actually started buying anything yet, this has only happened in the last few months since Trump's come in. So if they're way ahead, it means there's a long way to go for a lot of other countries. But as this cycle moves forward, if this all starts happening, I don't know, around the same time, or one after the other, you see different countries coming in and buying up Bitcoin, it's going to be wild. And interestingly enough, it came out recently that the old CEO of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, has now been appointed by Pakistan and Kazakhstan to be working with those countries around crypto regulations. And the key bit here, the use of blockchain technologies. So how are they looking to implement blockchain into their countries? It's not just about buying it as an asset to hold it because it goes up in value. It's how do you actually use the underlying technology of blockchain? It's the fact that they're even talking about that is incredible. And you can see if countries around the world, smaller countries, are all starting to do this same sort of thing, it's just going to catch like wildfire, and it really does seem to be doing that. Now, obviously, critics are going to come out and say, well, he's the CEO of Binance, of course he's going to say that. And I get it, there is an element of that in there. But what are the chances that this is actually happening? I would say it's more likely, especially when you consider that Zhao, former CEO of Binance, is now working with the Pakistan government to make regulations. It makes sense as well when you think America holds roughly $16-17 billion of digital assets, and it holds all of that on Coinbase. Now, Coinbase is American owned. It's on the American Stock Exchange. If you, as a country that maybe is scared of America and their regulations, you're more likely to approach Binance, which is used more widely globally than Coinbase is. So it does make sense that this would be happening. And the last very interesting statement I picked out from this interview says, we have actually received quite a number of approaches by a few government and sovereign wealth funds on the establishment of their own crypto reserves. Again, you've got to look at this, and the naysayers will be like, well, of course he's going to say that. But on the balance of probability, when you look at this statement, is it more or less likely to be true? Well, let's look at the evidence of what's going on around the world. Arizona State Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill passes final committee. Brazilian Vice President's Chief of Staff defends National Bitcoin Reserve proposal, saying other countries are seriously considering it. Brazil cannot be left behind. Pakistan Central Bank is exploring mining Bitcoin with excess electricity. Panama's largest city and capital now accepts Bitcoin and crypto for tax payments. A Swedish company has just announced it wants to store Bitcoin on its treasury and become Europe's MicroStrategy, saying, we want as much Bitcoin as possible. Vietnam's government strikes a deal with Bybit to reform crypto policy. Vietnam is the 16th largest country in the world. A Japanese medical care company buys Bitcoin for its balance sheet. Bhutan has Bitcoin. A Japanese company, a fashion retailer, has just announced they're going to be buying Bitcoin for its treasury. So as you can see, there is lots of interest. Yes, some of these are companies within countries. But if companies are asking to buy Bitcoin, do you not think the conversation is going on within that country? And there are other countries' actual governments saying, we're now accepting it for payments. I mean, this is all over the place. This is happening right now. So when I asked the question, do you think it's more or less likely that countries and sovereign wealth funds are coming to Binance to ask, hey, we need help. We need to know what we can do. I would say there's a good chance this is actually happening. So there we go. That's a very interesting story, and it is showing adoption is growing.